The joke, yeah. Okay, here's a question for you. What side of the sheep has got the most wool on it? The outside. Good morning there, team. My name's Craig Smith. I'm the General Manager, or the wool guy, of Devold New Zealand. I get the privilege of buying all the wool for Devold. And so it's a real privilege to be here today to talk to Pere Aita about wool, where it comes from, the sustainability of wool, and traceability. Devold's story in a nutshell. Well, it's really exciting actually. Like Devold's now just had its 170th birthday, and the original owners still family owned, and it's producing wool garments that have stood the test of time, and they've taken a natural product and continue to do it and through the evolution of time, we've gone from big chunky sweaters like we've got on to now making garments that are actually out in the we can wear it skiing and all over the place. So it's a wool company through and through and caring for nature. So the manufacturing of our garments, one of the things that we need to explain is that Devold is fully vertical. So it means that we own the pipeline all the way from buying the wool from the farmer to then our manufacturing facility that's actually in Lithuania, in a little town called Panevėžys. And it's a state-of-the-art mill where the wool arrives at one end and it goes out the other end already. We do the knitting there, we do the cut and sew, we have our own dye house. And what we're looking for, the reason we do that is so we can control the quality. And by owning the entire supply chain, we take control of the quality. And that's what it comes down to. We want our consumers to have the best experience they can by wearing a Devold garment. You can only do that by having the best manufacturing and the best quality control stuff. And we pride ourselves, and globally, we're the only global company that has ownership of their full supply chain, right from the farmer all the way through to the end product. So the process of the wool obviously starts with this, the greasy wool from the sheep. We then have to wash it, and then we have to comb it or take all the vegetable matter out of it. And then the spinning process, and then it goes through to knitting. But the difference from us to other brands is that we actually own the wool all the way through. Other brands don't. They just buy finished garments. They may design them, but they just buy finished garments. Once again, to make a great product, you need great ingredients, and you need to be able to control the pipeline all the way through. And that's why we started up Devold New Zealand, which is obviously New Zealand, where we go to each individual farm. No other brand globally does this, and that's why we pride ourselves on the quality that we've got. So is Devold's wool traceable? As I mentioned earlier, each of our garments we can trace all the way back to which farm it came from. Now that's actually happening because we've set up Devold New Zealand. We know which farm it came from. We process those in individual farm lots, and then we can trace it all the way through. We even know which person did the sewing on the garment, at what time and what day. So we can trace it all the way back. And hand on heart, every garment, I can tell you which farm it came from. Just going on from the traceability, we have the Sheep to Shop program, and each one of the garments has a swing tag on it showing the family that farmed the wool, what area it came from. And then you can also go onto our website and see some videos around those farmers as well. So what we have here is a greasy fleece straight off the sheep, taken 12 months to grow. We then turn it into wool tops, which is washed, ready for spinning. We then have the yarn that is produced from this wool top. We then go to the knitted fabric. We then have dyed fabric. And then this process turns all of that greasy wool from the sheep into one of the Devold jumpers. This process takes 2 years, 12 months to grow the fleece, 12 months to process it. So just going back to the difference between Norwegian sheep and merino sheep, all wool from both sheep is fantastic. But we've got to remember 170 years ago, Devold was started with Norwegian sheep. And to this day, the sweater I'm wearing is made from Norwegian wool. It's part of our heritage, it's part of who we are. And for an outer garment like this, it's absolutely fantastic from protecting people and our consumers against the environment outside. And through evolution, we've found merino wool, now that we've got a whole layering system. So we can wear merino against the skin, Norwegian wool on the outside, and it's protecting us through layers of wool and through the history of the whole company. So Norwegian wool is extremely important to Devold, and it plays its part in what we do, and we use it accordingly. And that's when merino came in there as well. So when we look at wool and we break it down, you know, it's got a lot of great attributes, wool. And one of them is actually around being able to regulate your body temperature. So wool, we automatically think that if you're cold, you put a wool jumper on because it just keeps you warm. What we've got to realise that wool itself and the fibre is a thermal regulating protein fibre. Now that sounds a bit nerdy, but what it actually means is that the fibre is alive and it adjusts to the conditions outside. So one of the big things that we need to do with our consumers is actually get them to understand that you can wear wool in summer, because what wool will do is actually it absorbs the moisture that you feel and takes it away from the skin and stores it in its fibre itself, because it's actually working with you to regulate your body conditions. So wearing wool in the summer is just as beneficial for you as it is wearing wool in winter. Okay, so one of the questions we always get asked as a manufacturer of wool garments, what is wool pill? Unfortunately, what some people do in the wool industry, they mix wool from around the world, or they'll get long fibres, so when I say long fibres like that, and then they'll get some short ones as well, which are cheaper, and they'll blend it into here. And when you rub it, like this jersey is made to have this effect on it. But the ones next to our skin, our Breeze products, Expedition, we want all long fibres in there. And that's why I go directly to the farm. We only take specific wool from certain parts of the sheep. Because what happens when we're spinning it, we want these fibres to wrap around each other as many times as possible. So the pilling comes from, if you've got short fibres in there, they can only wrap around each other in the spinning process once or twice. Whereas if we have all long fibres, and when we're spinning it, they can actually wrap around each other so many times, and then that pilling is actually, we call fibre migration. And that's just short fibres, when you're rubbing them, just coming out. And that's what pilling is. Once again, going back to the fibre, as you may be able to see, it's got a lot of crimps in it, so a lot of waves in it. Now to get that consistent all the way through, you've got to feed it consistently the same amount of protein every day of every week of every month of the year. And that takes 12 months to grow that. So the farmer's got to look out and got to project, what is it that sheep needs this week? Is it going to rain? Is it going to snow? Is it going to be really hot, and is it really dry? So being able to consistently feed for the animal is what the farmer needs to do. They're environmentally friendly. Wool is biodegradable. Simple as that. Put it in the ground, turns back into dirt, grows grass, sheep eats it, starts again. So the life cycle of wool outperforms synthetics every day of the week. Some more benefits around using wool versus synthetics is that this is moisture regulating as well. We talked about that before. You can wear wool garments in the rain, and to a point you'll stay dry because the wool itself actually absorbs 30% of its own weight in moisture. And what that does is just draws the moisture away from the skin, so it keeps you dry, or conversely, if rain's coming on top of you, then it actually absorbs wool, it absorbs the rain into the fibre to a certain degree. It's also fire retardant straight away, so you feel safe. We have a protection range that we sell to the fire departments, and they wear them because it actually absorbs chemicals, or VOCs, volatile organic compounds, as well. So it sucks that into your garment, and when you go and wash those, then it actually comes out. Yeah, so how often should we wash wool products? As less as possible. Like, you don't need to literally wash garments. wool garments that is, because they're almost self-cleaning, to be fair. So long as you just hang them out on the line or some fresh air or in front of the fire overnight, then you can put them on the next day. There is obviously some, if you do wash it, all our garments come with washing instructions on it. But now, through technology, we've been able to make garments that you can just put in the washing machine and wash, and they'll come out without felting or without shrinking. So, but answer to the question, how often should we wash wool garments? Not many times at all. Just going back to pilling, it's not dangerous. It's the fibres that do come out, because they're natural, they'll be washed down through your washing machine or just fall out. And because they're biodegradable, it's not a bad thing for the environment. And that's at Devold, that's why we're controlling that pipeline to make sure that all our fibres are nice and long, and then we can process them accordingly. And without having that direct connection back to each farm, we can't control the ingredients. You'll probably find with pilling, sometimes it happens after the first wash. So if you you buy it, then you put it in the washing machine for the first time, you will find every now and again some small pills on it. They're easy just to either shave off or comb off with a wool comb. So when we look at it, we look at sustainability and the collaboration and the working environment we have with Pāti Raita. It's not just about the wool, it's also about the people, knowing that at Devold, our entire production line is in Europe, which we feel really proud of. And when we look at that, we look at the minimum wages that we pay on the farm. They're above those. Our factory in Lithuania, we pay above the minimum wage. We really need to look after our people. We know the wool garment itself will look after people. But as companies, both Pāti Raita and Devold, we need to work together on that. And we know that we're proud of that ability to look after our people. And our people's not within our company, only within our company. It's also our farmers, our workers in the factories, and making sure we really look after them as well. Because this is what we call true collaboration, where yourselves like Pāti Raita and Devold are working so intensely together to make sure that we are selling the product in a way that is sustainable. What is my favourite product at Devold? There's so many choices, but actually I like the Breeze, but actually the Nansen, this one I've got on, it makes you proud to wear it, because this was designed and developed 170 years ago. So with this, you're wearing not only the brand, but you're also wearing history as well. And it does such a great job when you're out in the conditions. It keeps you really, really warm, and it's light, and with the bulk gives it extra warmth. So for me, I'm going to have to go with the Nansen jumper. And we said once before, wool's less than 1% of the fibres produced globally. Let's challenge everyone to go and grow more wool, wear more wool, and protect the environment.